All right, let's get into it. Today we are going on a wild ride, tracing the incredible story of a local Jamaican innovation that exploded out of the streets of Kingston and, believe it or not, completely changed the sound of music as we know it. So let's follow that signal all the way back to the source.
So here's a question for you. What's the thread that ties together a block party in Brooklyn, the Notting Hill Carnival in London, and the streets of Kingston, Jamaica? The answer is this incredibly powerful cultural movement, one born from pure creativity, fierce competition, and a deep sense of community. And it was all built around these massive, custom-made mobile speaker systems. Stick with me and you'll see exactly how all these dots connect.
Okay, so our story kicks off in post-war Jamaica. We're talking about a time and a place where, honestly, out of sheer necessity, one of the most influential musical ideas of the entire 20th century was about to be born.
And this idea, it caught on fast. I mean, in the late 1940s, you have these absolute pioneers like Tom Wong, Duke Reed, and Sir Coxsone, and they start building these insane mobile sound rigs. They had no idea at the time, but they were planting the seeds for a full-blown cultural revolution.
So what even is a sound system? Look, it is so much more than just a big speaker. I want you to picture a custom-built mobile nightclub. We're talking a massive, ridiculously powerful, and meticulously engineered setup designed to bring the party directly to the people wherever they were. And this right here is the absolute key. In a time way before streaming, when just owning a radio was a luxury for many, these sound systems filled a huge gap. They were, in effect, the people's radio station, bringing American R&B records to neighborhoods that were otherwise completely cut off from the latest music.
But, you know, these parties were about so much more than just music. As the scholar Norman C. Stolzoff puts it, they became the very heart of the neighborhood. They were a place for news, for community organizing, for social life. I mean, they were everything, all rolled into one.
Naturally, as more and more of these sound systems popped up, so did this amazing spirit of competition. And this is where the culture really starts to heat up, and things get, well, they get really, really interesting.
Now, to get why this competition was so intense, you have to understand the world they were living in. You see, wealthier folks in Jamaica might go to a concert hall to see a live orchestra. But in many neighborhoods, the sound system wasn't just an option, it was the only option. It was the only source of musical entertainment, and because of that, it became this massive source of community pride.
And think about this. New records were hard to get, and they were expensive. So the person controlling the turntables, the operator, they had all the power. They decided what the entire neighborhood was listening to, what became a hit, what people were dancing to. They were, without a doubt, the ultimate influencers of their day.
And all that influence, it led directly to what's known as the sound clash. This was basically an informal but incredibly intense musical battle. You'd have two rival crews set up their massive systems and just go head-to-head, trying to win over the audience with the best tunes, the most exclusive tracks. And the winner? They were decided by the roar of the crowd. That was the only judge that mattered.
Okay, so here's where the story takes a huge turn and crosses the Atlantic Ocean. When the Windrush generation migrated to Britain, they brought everything with them: their culture, their music, and of course, their sound systems. They were planting the seeds for a whole new scene, but the welcome they got was, let's just say, not very warm.
The Jamaican community in Britain faced just enormous hostility. Mainstream radio stations flat out refused to play their music. Public parties were constantly targeted by the police. It was brutal. Pioneers like Duke Vin even had their precious, custom-built sound equipment destroyed. The entire culture was basically forced to go underground. But here's the thing about pressure. It didn't kill the culture. In fact, it made it stronger, more essential. In these secret house parties and hidden dance halls, the sound system became this vital space for building community, for self-expression, and for forging a brand new, totally unique Black and British identity.
For a culture that had been forced into the shadows, there was really only one major public stage where it could finally step into the light. And that number one platform? It was the Notting Hill Carnival. It became the single most important event for showing off the power and the vibrancy of this culture to the rest of the country and eventually to the whole world.
But that ripple effect didn't stop in London. No way. The culture crossed the Atlantic once again, this time touching down in New York City. And it was there that its core elements would become the actual DNA of a new global phenomenon: hip-hop.
Now, at the absolute heart of this connection is a vocal style that was born in Jamaican dance halls called toasting. It's the art of talking rhythmically over an instrumental track. Hyping up the crowd, telling stories, boasting a little. Sounds familiar? Yeah, it's because it is the direct blueprint for modern rap.
And the person who made that connection happen, the key figure, was a guy named DJ Kool Herc. He was a Jamaican immigrant living in the Bronx, and he brought the whole sound system ethos with him. The huge speakers, the block party vibe, the toasting style, he brought it all to his parties. He is, without question, one of the founding fathers of hip-hop.
So, after this incredible journey from the streets of Kingston, what's the lasting legacy? Honestly, it's all around us. It's in the music we listen to every single day.
I mean, look at this. The line from Jamaica to the world stage is crystal clear. The whole idea of having these massive sound systems at festivals and raves, that comes from Jamaican culture. The art of rapping evolved directly from toasting, and that competitive fire you see in rap battles and grime clashes, that's a direct descendant of the Kingston sound clash.
And of course, we can't forget the music itself. Sound systems were the incubator, the birthplace, for entire genres that are now loved all over the globe, from ska and rocksteady to the absolute titans of reggae and dancehall. The culture didn't just influence others, it created its own incredible musical universe.
The story of the sound system is just this powerful reminder that when a community is denied a platform, they don't just give up. They often build something new, something more innovative and resilient than anyone could have ever imagined. And it leaves you with one last thought, right? What new cultural movements, what new sounds are being born right now in that very same way?